I know when we were writing this song, we were ourselves going through something that was difficult, which we all do. Everyone goes through these difficult seasons. We all refer to them as valleys because it's a low point, kind of. We're not at the mountaintop. We're not at the peak.
Yeah.
However, we have an opportunity at that point to choose to worship.
Yeah. I remember whenever God was really laying this on your heart and you were sharing with me, and this was a couple of weeks before we lost the baby. We had a choice in the valley to worship, or we had a choice in the valley to shrink back. And I remember after we did lose the baby, I remember thinking to myself, God, where else would we go? He's been our everything. He's been our everything.
And I know the reference for the story for the song is 2 Chronicles 20. You've got Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, and all of a sudden there's these three armies that come against them. Jehoshaphat seeks the Lord, is what the Bible says. He turns to the Lord. He kind of actually recounts God's faithfulness to them. And then you have this guy that stands up and is like, he proclaims what the Lord is saying to the people. And God says, you don't have to fight this battle. He says, the battle's mine.
Yeah.
And so what God's telling these people in the story is, position yourself to worship and I'll take care of the rest. And the Bible actually says, the same moment that they began to sing, the same moment that they began to shout, the enemies defeated themselves.
Being able to look back now from where we were, we had just lost the baby. We did resolve in ourselves to say, you know what? We have nowhere else to go but here. We have to praise. We have to worship.
I think about Psalm 23 and it says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it doesn't say I stop in the valley.
Right.
It doesn't say I make my bed there, I camp there, I die there. It says I walk through it. And I think the key to that is worshiping, to knowing who's with you in the valley. Because he says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you're with me.
Yeah.
You comfort me.
Yeah. We weren't just walking through this valley alone. He was there with us. He was there in the midst of it. I thought in myself, I'm like, we suffered, right? After the miscarriage, I was like, oh man, okay, we got pregnant with Judah, and I expected everything to be perfect, right? I expected us to not be thrown right back in the midst of another valley. But here we were at his birth, and they had to resuscitate Judah 3 times. And I think back into that OR room where Judah was lifeless.
Yeah.
And we had a choice to just ball up and cry and say, this is it, he's dead.
Yeah.
Or we did what we did and we spoke life.
We surrendered.
We surrendered and said, Lord, bring life.
Yeah.
In those moments, we have to deposit a resolve in ourselves to worship.
Yeah. I think about the disciples. They would have never known Jesus as the one who calms the seas,
Yeah.
who calms the storm, unless they were in the storm and saw him do it.
Yeah.
Hagar would have never known the Lord as the one who sees me,
That's right.
unless she felt lonely
That's right.
and rejected. Abraham would have never known the Lord as Jehovah Jireh, the one who provides, unless he was about to lose his son.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it takes going through something for us to be able to truly know. Like we can read it all day,
Yeah.
but it's when it's applied. It's when it
Absolutely.
actually makes sense. That's when it sinks in. That's when it becomes real. It's about bowing in worship
Mhm.
so that we don't break in warfare.
Yeah, that's good. That's so good.